What's up guys? Chad Christopher here. Welcome back to another video. So this is gonna be the very first video in the journey to finishing a basement series. So we're in my house right now. Downstairs in the basement is completely unfinished and I'm going to finish it. I have a goal to have it finished by August. So it is currently April, so I've got a couple months there. I've got a baby coming, so my wife really wants the basement done by then. So that's the goal. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done anything like this before. So I wanted to document the journey if any of you guys out there are thinking of finishing your basement or, you know, just kind of want to come along for the ride and see what goes into it. The reason I'm doing this video is there's a lot of these kinds of videos out there, right? But they're really all taught by like professionals, people who do this for a living. And there aren't too many out there that document it well, at least, that are just kind of doing it for the first time and documenting their mistakes and stuff like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break this up into a series so it's not one long 4 or 5 hour video like some of them out there. There's gonna be short, digestible videos with each step along the way. They're not hopefully gonna take the place of my normal videos. I don't know, I guess we'll see, but you know, I'll still try and get out a normal video a week and then these just whenever they come up. I guess first thing we should do is let's go check out the basement. Now this video is gonna be all about drawing up a plan, getting the permits if you wanna pull a permit, things like that. I just got awarded my permit, so I'm gonna show you exactly, oh no, you okay, baby? Oh! She just ran into the table. So yeah, this video is gonna be all about the permits. I just got my permit awarded, so I'm gonna show you what I had to draw up, what I had to submit, how much I had to pay, which was a lot more than I was expecting to, and the things I had to think through to get there. So let's head into the basement and see what we're working with. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is the stairwell is unfinished. It does have drywall and everything up, but we are gonna finish this. And here is what we're working with for the entire basement. We're working with about 800 square feet. There's insulation up on the walls already, as you can see. Egress windows are put in place, and then cement floors. We've also got some rough-end plumbing already. Okay, so this is the space. When we bought the house, they actually had the basement sort of pre-planned for the easiest layout, and that's what we're gonna go with. So right when you walk down these stairs, we're gonna be into just a big living room. So we've got another big living room here, and then on that wall there, we're gonna have a hallway that leads to a bedroom at the end of the hall, and then a bathroom kind of halfway down the hall. And that's really our main living space. You can kind of see over here, oh, the baby girl's going up the stairs. I gotta go get her. On the other side of the stairs here, this is our utility room, and we are gonna finish that. And there is an unfinished, like a cellar back there. We're just gonna leave that all unfinished. She's got printer ink in her hands. I don't know how you tend to find the messiest stuff you can when I'm not watching you. Underneath the stairs, like on that right side, so there's the stairs where you come down, and then like right here, this is actually has a little like opening behind it. Then I'm gonna create a little playroom for her and her little sister that's coming soon. So it's gonna be kind of a cool little kids play fort, but really that's the plan. So now I'm gonna show you actually what I drew up, and then the things I had to think through in terms of lighting and switches and outlets and, you know, bathroom and all those kinds of things. So let's jump into that right now. Okay, so I've got the plans here. Let's set this camera up so it, you know, looks a little bit better. Looks a little bit better than this. Zoom in. Good enough. Okay, so let's talk about this permit, this plan that I drew up. So I literally don't. Oh my God, I don't have it. Hold on. Okay, we got it. So here is the plan that I drew up. Let's talk about how I drew this thing, man. So first steps to drawing the basement plan. And this is a basement plan for yourself, for your contractor, for the city to review if you want to pull permits, things like that. So the first thing I did was I just took an eagle eye perspective. So, you know, I took my entire floor plan, pretended like I was up on top of it, and drew what that looked like, that perimeter looked like. And I didn't even worry about drawing it to scale or anything. You know, I just kind of did my best by hand and drew the shape of my basement. Then I went through and I measured each wall in feet and inches, put those numbers next to each wall, and then once I had my measurement of essentially my entire shape of my basement, then I could draw it to scale. So I took that drawing and I took it over to a 1/4 inch scale. So that's what I had to do for my specific city. It might vary where you're at, but yeah, so I had to draw a 1/4 inch scale, so I made it 1 foot per 1/4 inch, right? So if it's a 40-foot wall, it was gonna be a 10-inch drawing. So I just took a ruler and yeah, you guys get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so that's how I drew everything out to scale. And I started with the perimeter first. That's what I wanted to get down, everything that was essentially existing in my basement first. Once I had all of that drawn, the next step was to draw in obstacles. So things that are completely immovable in your basement. Maybe you have poles in your basement or something like that. Those are obstacles. Stairs are obstacles. So I drew my stairs in where they go. I measured them out, you know, once again, according to my drawing in scale. I have where the stairs come down, I have the landing pad, and then where the stairs come down again into the basement. And then I also drew an arrow that goes along the stairs showing which way is up. So I drew the arrow all along, put the point, and then said up, and that's how you get upstairs. In addition to that, I also drew things like my water heater, my furnace, HVAC, breaker box, things like that, once again, that are immovable. So you draw those in, measure out how big they are, measure where they are. So if your water heater is here, but you have a wall right here, make sure to include that measurement from your wall to your water heater, how far it is off the wall if necessary, whatever, just so that you, when you're building this, or your contractor, or the person reviewing your permit knows exactly where these immovable obstacles are in relation to the rest of your room, right? Once you've got all your obstacles drawn in, next is the fun part. Next is where you start to get designing your basement. So when I moved into this house, they already had sort of a rough plan for how to finish the basement, how they would recommend it. Like I said, they have rough plumbing already in and things like that. So I had some things to work off of. So as I mentioned, we've got a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom in sort of this main living space. So what I did really is I started with the bedroom because I knew the bedroom was gonna be on this back wall. All I did was I went upstairs in my finished house, I measured one of the bedrooms to see how big it was, and it was like 10 feet by 10 feet or something. I think I ended up going to like 10 feet by 12 feet or so for this bedroom, but that gave me a really good starting point. I just drew the square where the bedroom was gonna be. And then on my city codes, I needed a window, an egress window, as well as a closet in order for it to be considered a bedroom. So I've got my window right here, and then the finished closet is 2 feet by 6 feet. And again, I just went up and I measured one of my finished closets, and then I put it in the corner of my bedroom. So that simple. And then I knew on the other side of that wall of my bedroom had to be the bathroom. I also knew, because I have that rough plumbing in, I knew how far my bedroom could come out. Like I can't go past that rough plumbing unless I want to, you know, jackhammer up the concrete and move all that, which I don't. So I'm going to put the wall right before that plumbing, and then on the other side of that obviously is the bathroom. And for measurements on my bathroom, I just measured a finished bathroom upstairs. Again, it was like 5 feet by 10 feet or so. So those are the measurements I went off of. And then, you know, I made sure to draw in the doors and show which way the doors swing open. I have a hallway coming down that leads to the bedroom as well as the bathroom. I Googled the average size of a hallway, which I think was like 42 inches or something like that. So that's how big I made my hallway, and that also helped me find the other wall, right? So if I know the wall going this way stops at the pipe, at the plumbing, and I know this way stops at the hallway, which is 42 inches from this wall, I now all of a sudden have almost all my measurements done for me. So that was really simple. It took a lot of the guesswork away from how big should this room be? I have no idea how big dimensions are and things like that. So that helped a bunch. And then on the other side, so I've got the bathroom, and then on the other side of that wall, which is the living room, I've also got a wet bar set up. So I've got a sink there. I put that sink there because it's right next to the drain from the bathroom. So that was my thinking on that. I mean, really, that's the only things in terms of framing that I have to do. Like the utility room is already all framed out. It was all pretty simple for me on this one. Now, once I had all of the walls drawn, all the measurements in, things like that, next up I had to decide where lighting was gonna go. So you can see I have a little legend down here, and that legend just shows what symbols I was using and what those symbols denote. Now, I just Googled, you know, the most common construction symbols or whatever, so that's what I used, but I also included a legend in case some of them were off. I'm using recessed lighting in all of my living room, so that's what that little R with a circle around it means. And then I just took that recessed lighting plan from my main room, because like this basement here, there's a ceiling right here, and then that entire thing is my main room. So I just took the lighting plan off of that. So you can see I've got 4 recessed lighting kind of right in the middle of the living room. I've got 2 more kind of back near the sink, and then I've got 1 more over the actual wet bar sink. I've got 1 in the hallway. I've got 1 over the tub shower. And I think that's all of my recessed lighting. After that, everything was like wall mounted or ceiling mounted. So in the bedroom, I included like a light and fan combo that's ceiling mounted, and I drew a little symbol for that. In the utility room, I have a ceiling mounted light, and then in the bathroom, I have a wall mounted light over the sink. So all pretty standard stuff. I forgot to mention, when you're drawing that perimeter, I have that little space under my stairs that I mentioned, and I couldn't draw that because, you know, I had the drawing of the stairs. So I just took to another sheet of paper. It just says figure 2, and then I referenced on here where figure 2 was at. I drew the perimeter, I measured out the perimeter, drew it to scale, and then in here you can also see that I have some R's on there for recess lighting. So I have 2 recess lights under the stairs as well. Once you've got actually the placement of all these lights figured out, you then need to figure out what switches and where the switches are that are going to turn these lights on. So that's what all these lines are that are connecting the R's with the circles around them or whatever. You can see if you follow that line over, you'll eventually end up at an S with a 1, 2, or 3 next to it. And that just denotes like a switch. And then if there's like 1 switch, 2 switches, or 3 switches on that switch panel. You know, you can turn on the 4 main living room lights from the stairs switch or from the switch near the hallway. So things like that. And then that also helps you visualize how many switches will be on one breaker box line. Refer to your city's codes or whatever for what you need there, but you need to think through that. Obviously, make sure you're not overloading a breaker circuit. So once you've got your lights and your switches figured out, next you need to figure out your outlets. So for me, in my city, my code said that I needed an outlet every 12 feet at minimum. So if I had a long wall, there had to be an outlet every 12 feet minimum. And then if there was a wall, I think that was larger than 2 feet, it needed its own outlet as well. So that's what these little things are with the circle and the 2 lines going through it, and those 2 lines go right towards the wall. So that's just your standard like duplex outlets. And once again, you want to make sure that however you're going to run these when you do the electrical part, that you know, you're not overloading one circuit with how many outlets you have in accordance with your lights and, you know, all that stuff. We'll get to all that when we do our electrical. Make sure you've got a good plan in mind so that you don't run into any major issues when it comes time to install that electrical stuff. One last note about outlets is you want to use what's called a GFCI outlet near anywhere that's going to have potential water. So I think that those just like shut down the entire outlet circuit in the case of water kind of thing. So I've got one near my sink in the wet bar, I've got one in my bathroom, I've got one in my utility room, and I think that's it. But my code like told me where to put those. So pretty simple. Anywhere there's going to be water, include one of those. So next up on my code, I needed smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Again, just refer to your city's code. Mine said that I had to have a smoke detector inside any bedroom. So you can see I've got one there. That's what that SD is in the bedroom. I've also had to have a smoke detector right outside of the bedroom. So I have one there alongside a carbon monoxide detector, which is right there, right next to that smoke detector. I also put another smoke detector in my living room, kind of in the middle of everything. I don't remember if that was in code. I just know that there was one on the main floor above me, and like I said, I just kind of copied that layout. So I put a smoke detector there because there was one up there. And then last thing on my legend here is an exhaust fan for the bathroom. So I just kind of drew that in, and there is a little note that I had to include about that I'll tell you in just a second. I just put that kind of right near my toilet and tub shower stuff. So another thing I had to do that I didn't mention is on the windows. You can see over on the legend, I had to draw out how big the window actually is, and then, you know, where it is on my wall. Like I couldn't just draw it on the wall. I had to measure from the edge of the wall to the beginning of the window, and then how big the window is, and then how far to the next window, that kind of thing. So people know exactly where that window sits on your wall. I think that's really it for my drawings. Now, I did have a good buddy who does permits for like a living. You know, he reviews permits, and so he was really nice to look over my permit or my plan, make sure that I wasn't going to run into any issues. And what he told me was to include a couple notes, just on a separate piece of paper, include these notes for the reviewer. He said, number 1, combo light fan box capable of 50 pounds. And then the bath exhaust fan to terminate 3 feet from any openings. Center line to toilet is 15-inch minimum with 30-inch total clearance on sides, and then outlet receptacles to be no more than 12 feet apart along walls. I submitted this exact drawing with these notes, and it took my city about 2 weeks, which apparently is pretty long for normal, but you know, we're in the middle of the quarantine and everything and stuff like that right now, so understandable. But anyways, it took about 2 weeks and I did get it back. It got approved, no problem. They didn't, you know, have to call me up for any questions or anything like that, so that was great. And then they gave me my issued permit here. I'm not gonna hold it up because it has my address and, you know, whatever on it. But to give you an idea, it's essentially just a copy of the thing that I turned in, and there's a stamp on it that says reviewed for compliance. And then there's a couple red ink notes that he put on here. Number one is over the windows, he said shall meet egress. He drew in a couple more outlets that I missed, just if the wall was larger than 2 feet, he drew in an outlet. There's a note that says fire blocking required, and then smoke carbon monoxide detectors shall be hardwired and connected throughout entire home. And then utility room shall be fully insulated with gasketed door. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really know what all that means, but I'm gonna hit up my homie that does these for a living and you know, make sure I'm you know, right there with them and everything's in code. Figure 2, that under the stairs thing had nothing, and then those were the only notes. So it was really cool. I'm really stoked to have my permit. One thing I will say, it was way more expensive than I was planning on. You know, everyone told me that it was gonna be pretty cheap. Like, I was told like 80 bucks or something, and I thought maybe it was 80 bucks per inspection. I think there's like 3 inspections they have to do, and I was fine with that. But no, it was $570. So absolutely ridiculous. I hope at the very minimum that's all I have to pay. I don't have to continue to pay for inspections or anything. I don't know how all that works, but I'll keep you updated. But yeah, it was 600 bucks almost for my permit, which was a little jarring, but whatever, we're there. I wanted to pull permits because, you know, if we ever decide to sell the house or anything ever happens down here, everything will be covered. There's a paper trail that everything was done correctly. So yeah, whatever, it is what it is. And at this point, we're putting it behind me, and I'm stoked to have this permit in hand and start working on this thing. So in any case, I hope this video helped out. If you're not finishing your basement, I'm sure this was a very boring video, but if you are finishing your basement, I hope that there was a lot of useful information for you in here. I'm gonna try and include a picture of my plan that I drew up on a private link or something down in the description below. You can reference that. You can see exactly how I laid everything out with the measurements and stuff, because when I was drawing this, man, I was confused. I couldn't really find any good assets online, so I really hope that this gives you that confidence to you know, just start going, and then you'll figure it out as you go, I'm sure, just like I did. So yeah, that's all I've got for you. Moving forward, we're gonna start framing, man, and I am stoked for that. So the next video is gonna be putting up my first wall. I'm gonna try 2 different methods, see which one I like better, and then probably the video after that will be framing the entire perimeter and stuff in here. So I'm stoked, man. I can't wait to get started. It's been a long time coming. That's all I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that thumbs up button if you did. If this helped you out, help me out just by hitting that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. I'm gonna try and document this entire journey over the next couple months. Stoked to show you guys the finished product. And that's it, man. So thanks so much for watching. I will catch you next time. Peace out.